Talk a little bit about Project 2, the submissions that I got so far. I'm looking at Kate's project, and her graphics are really good and they're really neat. This one, to bear fruit, is a quite clever image. As you see, the woman looks like a tree. The problem that I have with this one for the project is that the project is about negative space. That will be the space around it. What she did here is an overlapping of images, which is a great solution for a lot of graphic things, but not what we want for this project. Another thing is she looks a lot like almost like a woman dressed up like a tree. It would have worked better if the hair was a bigger thing, which would make it look more like a tree. Negative space would be to take advantage of all these nice shapes around here uh, to make it work more. Here she have kick the bucket, and this is supposed to be the thumb where, you know, as part of the bucket. I think it would read better if it was maybe a little bigger, more obvious, and also maybe can say like RIP, and like rest in peace or something that look more like a tombstone, so people get the message. Um, the cat got your tongue, as you can see the tongue here. This maybe needs to be red, more like a tongue color. I know it will look kind of creepy, but that's what this is about. Then I also want to share some other ones. Uh, I got some here from Ileana. Ileana submitted some really clever ones. And see, she's using the negative space totally here. You see it here in computer. You can also see it how the O actually has the computer in it. Don't be shy to put more elements on it. Just like the examples that I show you. This is the little Red Riding Hood. It kind of reminds a lot of one of the examples that I show, but it's really a new image. You know, this is for me probably the most clever one. Look at this prom one. You can totally see the tuxedo. And she took the liberty to make the M a little lower, so it looks more like a tux. So it creates a focal point. If the M was just like the others, it wouldn't be so obvious, and maybe it wouldn't be as effective. These graphics are clean, they're totally centered. This is what you want to do. There's no need here to make more prom stuff. Like in Sonora here, you have to decide how much you want. Maybe it's an overkill to have so many cactuses. Maybe just having one cactus here. This is the shape of Sonora. I actually Googled it up because I didn't know the outline on the map. But it's like, how much do we need? Most people don't know the shape of things, of states or, geographical things. But Sonora is a desert. You hear about the Sonora desert a lot. So maybe that was just enough. So this is the kind of thing that you want to keep in mind when making this negative space. If I go to, there's Hannah's submission, okay? And for example, she got here firefighter, and you see the actual fighter, and you see, I would have maybe put a little more fire looking thing on the glove. Maybe I would have opened it a little more so it looks more like this shape. Sometimes what I do, I take one of these shapes, I cut it, and use it here as a cutter. I'm gonna make another video showing you these techniques with another example from the class. Like here on the arm, that looks super cool because it looks like fire. Maybe we need more of that here. Sometimes here's a horseshoe. So it's a compound word. And maybe when we need it here is see a little more of the horseshoe here. Sometimes horseshoes have a patch. Maybe that patch could have been shaped like a horseshoe a little more to give you more of that feeling of the horseshoe. Or here, you can almost see the shape of a horseshoe happening. So it doesn't have to be like a perfect graphic. This is another one that she made, and this is such a clever one. You see the mask for the coronavirus? I don't even know if you need these lines here at all. Or maybe they could be like chevrons, like little, because they tend to be kind of more like straight lines. So there's nothing wrong with letting people think a little bit. This might be a little distracting. I don't think you even need it. It's such a cool graphic. And the little coronavirus is so well drawn. And she didn't go crazy with them over here because then that would have break the concept of the mask. This is just enough. If some reason people have it on their minds. So these are the kind of stuff that make the project really cool. Know when to quit. you know. Uh, so I look at that one, and we look at the kick the bucket and the talk from Rojas, and then uh, this is Josue's submission, and then I'm looking at his here, and this is a wine creating phase, as you see. Here is the same. This one are just too similar. It's the same candy with a different wrapper. You know, a client will get upset because they will say, "Hey, you're giving me two of the same. What's going on?" You know. Here's a handmade with this, making the shape of a snail. It kind of reminds me of that hands doing the heart, but it's different enough to get away with it. Okay, and here's the megalodon. I believe it's an old prehistoric shark. They're really big, and you see it's like eating a ship. They're so big. These pieces, I think they're clever. I'm not crazy about the way they were drawn. There's a little imperfections. You see how this corner here is a little lower than this. Also, there's cool things like everything inside the glass is lighter. You see the cork. This is an early Mayer flask, but it's not perfectly drawn. This is darker here. The bottle of wine is a little crooked. See the axis? So I'm gonna make another video to show you how to draw the things like perfect. You see this is jaggedy, that shouldn't happen. And it's gonna help you a lot. I want everybody to watch it because it's gonna make your life a lot easier. The shark, maybe the shark needs to like be cut out down here. Otherwise it looks like it's some kind of a weird surfboard or something. The outline is nice. So watch for my next video as well where I'm gonna show you these tricks. So the takeaway from the thing is making submissions clean, you know, make everything just perfect. It is professional work. It should be done clean. This is really neat. You see the shark one? What I would do different, maybe make this a little smaller. It's almost like pushing the edges. The typeface, can we get a typeface that looks more organic? Because shark is a living thing. I mean, they do look like machines, but this is really whimsical. Hot air balloon, you know, and you see how it's going. So, okay, make sure that when you turn your PowerPoints, the type fits in. You see how this one got cut out? So this is the way I see them on Blackboard. So make sure everything is inside of it. Maybe you need to make the image a little smaller. Again, look at this gap here. It's too big compared to that. This is not centered. And as graphic designer, we need to make this. So because it got cut out, it's not self-explanatory to me anymore. So it said it's two hands pointing. At first I didn't get it, to be honest. So maybe the little lines need to be thicker here at the end to make it more organic, connected properly. See, it should be a mirror image to point. Actually, we only point once, so maybe maybe it could be the regular end and just have one hand pointing. You see there's a gap here between the letters, okay? So the tracking here is different than the tracking here, which make it confusing because then you might start to try to make a connection here. These are the things we have to watch for. Embrace negative space. That means living, breathing area. Okay, so take these things with you for your next project. Leave breathing space, make clean graphics, everything should be centered. Drawings that are symmetrical things and the wine bottle should be the same on both sides. And I'm gonna show you a few tricks in a little video that I'm making for you next. So do watch it. Take care all. Ciao.